The truth about low-impact car accidents. Can you still have a serious injury? Your car doesn't have to be completely destroyed for you to have a serious injury. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make after a car accident is assuming that if the vehicle damage is minor, their injuries must also be minor. And this is something I want people to understand. Your vehicle damage and your bodily injury claim are two different things. They are related because they come from the same accident, but they are evaluated separately. A car can have minimal damage and someone can still suffer a real injury. Hi, I'm Brian Hurwitz, a personal injury attorney in California. Throughout my years of handling personal injury cases, one thing I've noticed is that many people minimize their own injuries because of what their vehicle looks like. They look at their car and think the bumper is barely damaged. There's only a small dent. The accident wasn't that bad. And then they tell themselves, maybe I'm just sore. Maybe I'll be fine. But the truth is, you cannot determine the severity of an injury just by looking at the vehicle. The human body and a vehicle respond differently to impact. A car is designed to absorb force. Your body is not. That is why someone can walk away from an accident where the vehicle looks fine and still experience significant pain afterward. One important thing people need to understand is that the property damage claim, the claim involving repairs to your vehicle, is separate from the injury claim. The fact that your car is repaired quickly, has only minor damage, or doesn't look severely damaged does not automatically determine whether you have a valid injury claim. The injury claim focuses on you, your health, your medical treatment, your symptoms, how the accident has affected your daily life. Those are different questions. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking, if the insurance company only paid a small amount for my vehicle, my injury claim must also be small. But that is not how it works. The damage to your vehicle is only one piece of information. It does not tell the complete story. For example, one of the most common injuries after a collision is whiplash. Whiplash occurs when your neck and head move suddenly back and forth during an impact. And what surprises many people is that it can happen even in accidents that do not look dramatic. Someone may leave the scene feeling okay. Maybe they're focused on exchanging information. Maybe they're dealing with the stress of the accident. Maybe adrenaline is masking the pain. Then hours or days later, symptoms start appearing. Neck pain, back pain, headaches, stiffness, difficulty sleeping, problems with concentration, and suddenly something that seemed like minor accident is affecting their everyday life. This is why I always tell people, do not ignore how you feel after an accident. Even if you think nothing serious happened, it is important to pay attention to your body. Getting checked by a medical professional can be important, not only for your health, but also because it creates documentation of what you are experiencing. Because when an insurance company evaluates a claim, they look at the evidence, they look at medical records, they look at treatment history, they look at whether your symptoms are consistent with the accident, they look at how your injuries affected your life. And this is where documentation becomes extremely important. A personal injury claim is not just about saying, I was hurt. It's about showing the full picture. Maybe you missed work because of pain. Maybe you had to stop doing activities you enjoyed. Maybe you could no longer exercise, take care of responsibilities at home, or live your normal routine. Those changes matter. They are part of understanding the true impact of an injury. This is also where pain and suffering become important. Pain and suffering is not just about a medical diagnosis. It's about how the injury affects your quality of life, the frustration of not being able to do what you used to do, the discomfort that follows you throughout the day, the limitations you experience during your recovery. These are real effects of an accident. Sometimes insurance companies try to minimize these damages because they are not as easy to calculate as a medical bill. They may focus on the vehicle. They may say, the damage wasn't insignificant. But the reality is, your body is not a car. You cannot look at a bumper and determine what someone is feeling physically. This is why it's important to have someone who understands how these cases are evaluated. An attorney can help investigate the accident, review the evidence, communicate with insurance companies, and make sure your injury claim is not being judged only by the appearance of your vehicle. The goal is not to make an accident seem worse than it was. The goal is to make sure the complete impact of the accident is understood, because sometimes people wait too long to get help because they convince themselves it wasn't that bad. I don't want to overreact. My car is okay. But your health is what matters most. If you were involved in an accident, even one that initially seems minor, it is important to understand your condition and to know your rights. The biggest takeaway is this: a low impact accident does not automatically mean a low impact injury. Your vehicle tells one part of the story, your health tells another, and both deserve to be properly evaluated. If you or someone you know has been injured in an accident in California and you have questions about your options, contact our office. We're here to help you understand your rights and to protect your claim.